Oh, sugar honey iced tea. It's the EAC Show.
Good day, ladies and gents. I'm Emilio A. Colon.
I am Marcus Mack, and this is the EAC Show coming to you live from sunny South Florida with episode 49.
And joining us on this episode 49 is UCF activist, overall sports enthusiast, the big one, Cameron Ginnon, has returned once again. Cameron, welcome to the EAC Show, my friend.
I might just always come back just to hear that introduction. That's a grand entrance right there, the red carpet, man. It's always good to come home, talk sports with y'all.
Yo, me and Marcus Mack got some things in the work, man. We just waiting for this whole COVID-19 situation to cease a little bit more. We got so much hot stuff. You have no idea what we're working on. I got a interview that I'm working on right now. Me and Marcus Mack been trying to put together the past couple weeks. I think it's coming to fruition. We're literally going to shout that out on every social media platform once it's confirmed, but it's definitely going to end up happening. We got EAC Headlines today to talk about. Marcus Mack, let's get into some of the stuff that we have to talk about, but let's get into the first EAC Headlines of the day.
Well, the first EAC Headlines, we're taking off from where we left off the last time with MLB. There's a huge issue right now with any kind of history that the MLB has with having a lockout. The only people that suffer is the fans. Huge issue.
Now,
right?
For those of you that are not watching on YouTube, Marcus Mack is wearing a very, very bright and green Oakland A's jersey. I coincidentally have an Oakland A's hat on, so we're on our baseball mode for sure. Marcus has been extremely intrigued by this whole ownership/player disagreement. Marcus loves the politic, baseball, business side. He loves that business part, entrepreneurship part of sports. So Marcus is really, really into it, Cameron. Not for nothing.
Yeah, we're just the jock sports fan. Marcus is the back end business side. Every group needs one.
Yeah,
Marcus likes to use the word spicy. He loves when it gets
because it gets really spicy. It seems like it's getting so spicy in these boardrooms. But it's like, when I really look at it, it's like, yo, man, they have to come to some kind of agreement because the only people that's really suffering right now is the fans, because it's like, yo, the owners don't want to take a loss. The players don't want to back off. They want what they feel like they signed to. Whatever they feel like they signed to. This is what I signed to, and I want what I feel like I deserve. I deserve what I negotiated. This is what I negotiated. This is what I want, right? And in my personal opinion, now you guys know that I'll always take the business owner side, always. But the way I feel is that the money that you feel like you're going to lose to the owners, to the administration, the money that you feel like you're going to lose this year, those contracts still have time on them. You still have next year, the year after that with a lot of these players. And it's like you can recoup. Why would you why would you even put yourself in a position to keep sports from the fans to where, these players can just say, hey, listen, there's no go. And you say, okay, no problem. We'll just not do anything at all, because that's what's going to happen next.
Bravo, Marcus Mack. Bravo. Well done. Cam, please give some type of answer, because I'm just like a happy father watching my son just literally just go in on these owners. Yeah, for sure.
Everybody.
Well, listen.
Go ahead.
Listen, it always has something to do with money when in these situations, especially since, we've never seen something like this happen, and I'm referring to a pandemic that sort of throws a wrench in the middle of our sports year. In baseball's case, the beginning of what their season is supposed to look like, the summer. Now, there's only 2 times in baseball where really the money's coming in and their viewership is high, and that's right when baseball kicks off, June, July, like the summer time when everyone's excited about the new sport coming out, and then in October when the playoffs come. So they're taking a ding right now. And if these sports come back, basketball, if football comes back before baseball is able to get really going, they're going to go by the wayside, and nobody's going to really be involved and entrenched in baseball until October. So what's going to happen here, if they can't get this money situation figured out with the top baseball players, they're going to reach out to replacement players, backup players, and give them the league minimum. There's guys willing to play right now to make a name for themselves. So you're either going to jump on the ship or you're going to get off, because these owners don't want to keep losing money and prolong the start of the league.
Like, I mean, let's be like, come on, like they were supposed to start practicing by now, and I think the players didn't even show up. So, what about the players that's supposed to be coming in to get drafted? There's like, the business is important. The money is important because, whenever anybody goes into anything, the first thing you're going to ask is, okay, how is this money being split? I don't care if you're going in half on a business. I don't care if you're just going in to be employed. What do you ask? How much am I being paid? Right? So, the bottom line is, where is the money, honey? Where is it?
The owners try to claim that they literally reinvest the money into the teams, and not too many MLB teams ends up making money. That's more like a billionaires boys club where they just play around with these toys. And listen, I don't want to hear that BS. That's all nonsense. The reason why there's no salary cap in baseball is because the owners don't care what they pay the players, because the players make them so much goddamn money that everybody looks the other way. Period. Point blank, period. This is the only sport, and Cameron, you know this, that does not have a salary cap. That's basically like your owner saying, like, if you work for somebody and they say, okay, how much you want a year? And you say, I want $1.2 million. And he goes, sold, I'm going to give you $1.2 million. You want it over 5 years? I want 20% increases the next 4 years after that. Okay, done. Why? Because you're going to make me more money than I'm paying you the $1.2 million plus the 20%. That's why I give you that money. That's how easy it is.
Yep. I'm telling you, the players either hop on or this is going to be a serious problem. Like I said, you're losing viewers. You're losing the youth that you're so trying to gain with the years past and the failure of what you've done. So if basketball gets started and football gets started, like I said, baseball will quickly be forgotten. So let's just get a product on the field. I like what Marcus said. Like, where's the money? Let's get it going now, and let's just get the product on the field. We can figure all that out as the season is trickling along.
Yeah, and I think that's what's most important, man. Realizing that there's so much more money to be made once you get the product on the field. And I like the way you said that, getting the product on the field, because this thing is only going to last but so long. You understand what I'm saying? And there's so much more time for the owners to recoup. Why would you want to keep this money away from these players?
Because, guys, baseball is in a unique position. Baseball is not like every other sport. Now, baseball does have guarantees. Now, the owners, and Marcus Mack, we talked about this in just a little bit to bring you up to date, Cameron. There's that clause, that force majeure clause, that literally that force of nature clause that owners are trying their best to use against the players. Now, the players are not buying it. The players are like, look, you don't want to pay me for this year? No problem. Don't pay me for this year. We got our money coming to us next year. A lot of these players have multiple year contracts, so they're not really too concerned because they know they have money coming to them in 2021, 2022, for sure. So it's not going to be a COVID-19 pandemic situation forever. It's going to get better, and when it does get better, those owners are not going to reciprocate with these players, and they know that. They fully understand it. This isn't basketball. This isn't the NFL. This isn't any other league where, there's salary caps and stuff like that. This is Major League Baseball. They get their bread. Their numbers are guaranteed. You have to pay them their money.
I got to say, it's tough because I really do understand both sides of the spectrum here. I understand where these players are coming out. Some of these players, like Blake Snell out of Tampa Bay and Max Scherzer, I understand that they got themselves into a level of dominance in the sport, which got them their huge paychecks, their huge contracts. And they want to earn that, even if it's just for this 1 year. So I can understand why they would not want to play a shortened season and make less money for a greater risk going out there while there's a pandemic and while there's, an illness that can, that's not only life-threatening. But on the other end, I can understand everyone that's coming out and saying, listen, it's baseball. Just tough it out for 1 year, make a reduced salary. It's a shorter season. As long as the guidelines are put in place and the safety precautions are taken. So I really do understand both ends of the spectrum here, but I'm always going to go for just get on the field and play, because I'm just a greedy sports lover that just wants to watch sports already.
Agreed. The players are with you on that, Cam. They want to get on the field more than anything else, but they in March agreed to prorated salaries just in case stuff started to happen. And then the owners are trying to hit them. Well, you know what? We're going to end up losing more money than we thought. So let's start discussing other things. And the players are like, no, we already discussed this. That's how the players feel. So the players feel like the owners are trying to backdoor them again, and they don't want to do them no favors.
Well,
Is this a situation where, my bad, Marcus, is this the situation where the top players in baseball, like the guys I named, are sort of holding back these negotiations for the rest of, let's say, the younger guys, like the NFL? When we were talking about the collective bargaining agreement for the NFL, how guys like Aaron Rodgers and the Pouncey brothers, guys that are making big money on their teams, they're the ones that aren't for the collective bargaining agreement because it's another game that they're going to have to be played, another game for their bodies to take a beating. But all the younger guys on the team are like, nah, we'll play an extra game. Like, we want more money. Like, I'm just making the league minimum right now. I'm just making $500,000 right now a year. Like, give me the more money. Give me the extra game. My body can handle it. And all the older guys are like, no, we're doing this for your future. We're doing this for their future. Like, I understand the younger players.
It's somewhat similar, Cameron, but not the same, because once again, in baseball, number one, the money's better. And number two, the players are more thinking about the future in a sense. So, like, if this ever happened again, if we take a stand now, we're not going to have to take a stand later, because we already showed them, hey, listen, this is how it's going to be if this goes down. So while we have unprecedented times because of COVID-19, Major League Baseball is a sport that doesn't suffer when it comes to finance. You tell me how many Major League Baseball players out there are bankrupt or lose all their money, or you don't hear those stories when it comes to that sport, because that sport usually has a longer shelf life for the player. Like in football, you have a shelf life for what, maybe 3 years tops in the NFL. Like, you know what I mean? That's not how it works in baseball. You could be a multi-millionaire from the draft and never make it to the major leagues. Never.
You're right. No doubt. It's just sort of tough for me to wrap my mind around it here. And Marcus, maybe you can, give it a little bit more insight on the business end of it. But I think we covered exactly, what's going on as far as the negotiations themselves and what needs to be done in order to get back.
And not for nothing, I need Major League Baseball back so I can hit my parlay at 10 o'clock at night and add them to the open bet that I have in my parlay for my other two bets that I hit, damn.
So instead of what now you have is the Korean baseball parlays that start at 3 a.m. So instead of those, you want to parlay one of those. I heard the Dinos in North Korea are doing very well. You can parlay with the opening games.
Emilio is going to be betting on Korean baseball. So.
No, you know why I haven't bet on Korean baseball? Because and don't get it twisted. I have bet on Korean baseball in the past. Okay, I'm just letting you know. But I haven't bet on Korean baseball this year because this completely and utterly threw me off. So I wasn't paying too much attention.
So you were a pioneer in the Korean baseball gambling scene.
Oh, you have no idea, no clue whatsoever.
We was discussing that as soon as it came up. That was the first thing that came up. Once it crossed our desk, we talked about it.
So everyone right now is just some young bucks getting into the game at fresh meat. You already know the dynamic.
Listen, I was listening to Pat McAfee the other day, guys. And Pat McAfee talking about the AFL coming back June, whatever. I think it's June 11th or 14th or something like. I've been betting on AFL for a very long time. Aussie rules football. I've been betting on that for a very long time.
Since we're talking about alternatives right now, I hate to bring it back up, but right now would be a perfect time for the XFL to say, we're coming back. We're back.
I missed that league. I missed the shit out of that league. I'm sorry, I'm cursing on today's episode. I missed the hell out of that league, Cameron.
Yeah, don't tease me with that. I saw that that Vince McMahon was gonna buy back in. I started started salivating. So please don't get me any football. I'll take any football right now.
So Marcus Mack, let's get into EAC headline number 2 for today.
Can I just give them the bottom line with this MLB situation? Because
go ahead before we get into it.
Have they even done the drafts? They haven't even started even looking at these drafts.
They postponed that.
Nothing, because the already existing players have yet to that they need to take care of that first. Get these players on the field practicing and get them ready for the season and get this thing going. Because like I said, and I think everyone who's listening can attest to this, is that the only people who's taking the L, the big L right now, is the fans. That's it.
Agreed. Well said.
Yes.
That's
well said.
That's the only one
for us.
So the next topic for EAC headlines is we're going into soccer. Major League Soccer, players near CBA deal to avoid lockout.
Now, Marcus Mack and Cameron 2 episodes ago on the EAC Show, episode, I think it was 47, if I'm not mistaken, because this is 49, we posted a picture of Mickey Mouse with Adam Silver, and
That's
basically our title was Mickey Owns Basketball. Mickey owns soccer in the United States as well, because they're playing these games in Orlando at Disney World, and the NBA is going to be playing at Orlando in Disney World. What else doesn't that little rat own?
Let me tell you something. That little rat is making up for its losses over the last. Remember we talked about this was a month or so ago when we talked about how much money Disney loses in a day. I think it was something crazy like $30 million. During all this right now.
They lost a lot. But
right.
For everyone who's listening, mark my words. Make sure you remember that Marcus Mack said it first. Buy Disney. For everyone who's listening, if you guys
listen, they're gonna raise up the price of turkey legs by $1.25. Watch.
Them shits are already $10.99.
Buy.
Them shits are already $10.99. They're overrated for the price. They're delicious, but for the price they are overrated. Don't at me, but they're making their money back not only because all the sports are now using Orlando as their safe haven and coming to play there, but now they're opening the parks back up, I think like the end of June or beginning of July. So they're making up for lost wages here.
I know people that live in Orlando that have season passes to Orlando, which are relatively affordable. And they have been season pass holders for the past 15 years.
Yeah.
Right? That live in Orlando.
Yeah, I was a season pass holder when I went to UCF.
Those overpriced anything. The overpriced funnel cake, the overpriced beer, the overpriced hot dogs, the overpriced everything. I can guarantee you everyone's going to be buying it. Buy Disney. I can guarantee it. Watch and see.
For those that don't know, MLS is working on coming back. They came to an agreement. They're going to be playing at Disney. All of the teams are going to come. They're going to end up playing. They're going to do 2 weeks of training camp, and then they're going to get ready for a big North American World Cup type of tournament. You're going to have groups split up into certain amount of teams. They're going to have 3. They're going to win. They're going to play 3 games, and it's pretty much going to be the first place winner moves on, and then all of a sudden it's going to be single elimination after that. So it's basically going to be a version of the World Cup is what you're going to get in MLS at Disney in Orlando. So Mickey Mouse, you're winning again, charging $8 for a soda that cost you barely and next to nothing. So Mickey Mouse, you own everything, you rat.
The only rat that's making as far as Mickey right now is 6'9".
Listen,
that's the only rat making it that far right now.
Listen, I'm reading a copy of The Godfather right now, and to be a rat is like the worst thing. But to be this kind of rat right now, I mean, that's pretty much the best situation you can be in at the moment, is to be this rat racking in all the money.
I swear, I'm gonna try my best to find Mickey Mouse holding a soccer ball or something, and
then in the other hand, a sack of cash.
Oh my God!
Get our editing team on it.
Oh, man, I swear, man, he's making a killing. I'm glad that MLS is coming back. I'm glad that Major League Soccer is going to be able to play. There was some hurdles that they were going back and forth between owners and between the league and between the players. But this is a case where it shows that it worked out. They got it done for the betterment of the sport, to be able to put something on for the fans that they do have, because Major League Soccer, whether you like it or not, is a growing sport in North America, hands down. It has one of the fastest growing statistics, analytics. If you can look it up, people are watching more and more. They're buying in. They're tuning in. They're buying merch. They're getting involved in the soccer movement in North America. It just can only equate to our trash U.S. men's national team. Other than that, everything else is good. The women, we all know they're unbelievable soccer players. And now MLS is doing their thing to take part in Orlando with Mickey Mouse.
Well, I mean, we weren't really going to dive too far into that, but I'd like to just talk about that for a second. I think our women's team is so much more dominant over the other women's team is because we give our women way more resources in order to be as competitive as they are. A lot of these countries, like third world countries, other countries, that's why I really only the Germanys and developed countries like that can kind of see us in women's soccer. But for men's soccer, I mean, we're on the level playing field with everyone else, and we're just not flat out just not as good as them in soccer.
They're not picking the right guys, man. You got to pick Hector from the bodega and Vladimir from the corner store, and you got to pick Jean-Claude Baptiste from across the street.
Right. I mean, but we need to get the Germans. Remember that year we had the best when we lost to Belgium in the second round and we really put up a fight in that game. That was when we had a German coach, 4 or 5 Germans on the team running the show. We need something like that, man. We need non-Americans on this American team.
You get too many Jims and Tims and Christians. You get
Millers.
Too many of those guys complaining.
Yeah, I know it.
Seriously. Oh, we need a Dick to be in control. What? You mean Richard? Yeah, that's what we need. No, they don't want. They don't want Jose or Alejandro or Juan or they don't want that.
If you want to win, that's what you need, though.
That's what
Sorry to say it. That might sound prejudiced, but hey, man, those players, that's the kind of players that get it done.
Listen, let me tell you something. This is how I know that we need Alejandro in with our league, right? I'll never forget this. We was outside. I got a friend named Jean, just by the way. Just his name not Jean-Claude, but his name is Jean, right? So he got into a fight. I have never seen a guy win a fight with straight kicks. When I tell you this dude was a soccer phenom.
Sign him up.
We need to get Jean on the team. Jean won this fight with straight kicks. He was like a T-Rex. He was fighting like this. His arms was like this the whole time. But when I tell you his legs was flying, boom, 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 I'm like, Jesus.
Listen, Marcus Mack and Cameron, we got second generation families. They move here from wherever, whether it be Europe, whether it be the Caribbean, whether it be Mexico, wherever it be. They move here to the United States, and then their kids who are U.S. citizens are the ones that have the opportunity to represent the United States and play for the United States, and they're not picking those kids. They're not selecting those kids.
Right, and I don't really understand why. I mean, they're second generation, so they are first generation Americans. So, at least for their families, while their families are concerned. So, I don't understand. I think they need to be a little bit more open-minded about this. I mean, every year we see, you'll be watching the USA men's soccer team and you'll see a Velasquez on the back of one jersey and you'll think for a second okay, American, I get it, he's living in America. But at this point, it's all such a melting pot here in America where we have the excuse in order to do that. Nobody's going to, shit on us if they are an American citizen born in the U.S.
I mean, we definitely jumped off topic with MLS, but this is a really, really good topic to talk about. We could talk about this on a future show as well, but we got to get into this promo to represent our sponsor who's been with us since episode 1. And not to mention, I ordered them twice today. I had a cafe con leche, a croissant, egg, and cheese. And then for lunch, I had another cafe con leche and a croissant, egg, and cheese. So, ElCubanoSandwichShop.com. Use the promo code EAC and receive discounts on online pickups or delivery orders. Enjoy a cafe con leche, and there was croquetas there today, so that means Marcus Mack was not there today. An extra shot of that Cuban coffee to start your day. The daily lunch specials and their steak sandwich is next level. ElCubanoSandwichShop.com or 954-906-5110. Remember, use the promo code EAC, and that's El Cubano Sandwich Shop in Coral Springs. Marcus Mack, we got to get into our EAC headline topic number 3, my friend.
You already know where we're going. Yeah, you already know where we're going. Because we was having this conversation. Of course, it kind of stemmed off from the MLB situation. We were saying, listen, the NBA, they're not having. Well, we spoke about this the last show too. There's no disconnect at all with the Players Association and the owners over there in the NBA. You know, Silva and Chris Paul. You know, they had their their conversation, and he's representing the players, and they're ready to get back to playing, and their 22-team format has been approved, and they're ready to get back on the court, man. 22 teams. I believe it's supposed to be. How is it supposed to work?
So it's supposed to be a 1 through 16 tournament, just like the NCAA tournament. And then you have 6 play-in teams that be able to play their way in some way, shape, or form. If I'm not mistaken, so 22 teams in total. And let me get your opinion, Cam. What do you think about that?
So what you're saying is, after the play-in games, how many teams from each conference are going to be playing?
I think it's 3 because I think there's certain teams that are not too far off from each other. So those playoff spots are still up for grabs. So 16 is still up for grabs. You understand?
Okay, but after the play-in games are done and the playoffs are set, the first round of playoffs are set, is it still going to be 8 seeds per conference?
Yes, it's going to be 1 through 16, 2 through 15, 3 through 14, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, so they're pretty much
those 6 teams have to play their way into their seedings.
So pretty much what they're doing is because those teams in like the 11, 10, 9 seed spot lost the chance to play the rest of the regular season and fight into that 8 spot, they're pretty much just saying, let's just do the play-in and we'll do it that way. I actually don't agree with that. Or excuse me, I actually agree with that a lot. I like that a lot. I know Damian Lillard was very vocal on how well they were doing the last month before they stopped playing and the push they were making, and Zion Williamson and the Pelicans making a push to come up. So I'm excited about that. Hold
on. Breaking news on the EAC show. I have just confirmed Thomas Jones will be on the show next week. It is official. It is a wrap. It's done.
Let's go. OG Thomas Jones, man. Friend of the podcast, friend of the show, friend of Emilio. Man, that's exciting.
Wrapped up. We're going to get it done next week. We're going to figure out the logistics, whether we're going to go to him or he's going to come to us. But it's just been confirmed. And it's crazy because that's actually our last topic. But let's finish this NBA talk. I just needed to get it out there because it was just confirmed to me. So I'm glad we ended up getting that done.
And just to refresh the audience before you skip over, Thomas Jones, it's been a while since he's been in the league. So for those who don't know, running back for the New York Jets. Did he play for any other teams?
Oh, yeah. He started off – he was drafted by the Cardinals. He was a first-round draft pick by the Cardinals. Ended up getting traded to Tampa Bay. Ja Gruden believed in him. Ended up going to Chicago, and him and Tampa couldn't come to an agreement on a free agent deal. Some of his best years in Chicago. Then went off to the Jets and then finished off his career in the Kansas City Chiefs. Thomas and I have been friends for many, many years. I mean, he watched my kids grow. He's family to me. And Marcus Mack and Cameron and I, and they know this, we've had this discussion. We just didn't feel like I wasn't ready and we weren't ready as a show to bring Thomas on earlier in this process. But now I think it's the right time. We got almost 50 shows underneath our belt. So I think right now is the right time.
We got the juice. We're ready.
We're good to go. So let's just finish off this NBA talk. I'm excited. I know, Marcus Mack, you're excited. You stated it on your IG story before that you've never been more, like, anticipating basketball than just, like, right now.
You know what it is? I'll tell you what it is, right? My thing with sports at this point, all sports, not just NBA, But my thing at sports at this point, because like everyone who actually watches the show knows, Marcus Mack is not the sports guy. But since I've been producing the show and watching it while I'm editing it and putting it out, and I'm like, wow, yo, I want to know about this. I want to know about that. And because naturally I'm more business inclined and I like certain things, I want to see it. I guess that's why I've been talking more about the business aspect of the different leagues and all that stuff, because it intrigues me. I want to see the games now. Now I want to see who's the draft players that's coming in. I want to see when players get injured. I want to see what's gonna go. Okay, this is what's gonna transpire. This is gonna happen. Oh, he's getting
You're
traded.
tired, yeah. You're tired of talking about it. You're ready to see it now. You've learned the sporting world.
Yeah, before I didn't have like a huge interest in it, and I don't know why. I'm just one of those guys. I grew up. I was never really interested in sports. I was interested in everything else. But now it's like, now I want to know, what is the hype about? Like I told you, I told Emilio, I was in this restaurant the other day, and me and a guy, just a random guy, we were just in the restaurant. Everyone knows I love wearing jerseys. You know what I'm saying? And me and a guy were just having a random conversation about sports. I guess it sparked because I had on a Chicago Bulls jersey, and
Right.
the Last Dance talk and all that stuff. And I'm like, I know sports. What?
So let me get this straight. Give me your pick of who ends up winning this NBA tournament when it's all said and done. I want to hear Cameron, and then I want to hear Marcus Mack, and I'll go last.
If we would have just rolled into the playoffs from the regular season, if coronavirus never happened, I had the Milwaukee Bucks. But right now, I don't know what's happening. Maybe I'm just buying into some hype. But I really like the Lakers. I really like LeBron to put himself and his team on a pedestal. And what would be greater than to win as a Laker organization a championship after what happened to their hero Kobe Bryant. So I'm rooting for that, but I have switched my vote and taken the Lakers. It's going to be Lakers versus Heat in the NBA Finals.
I tried, you homer. You damn homer. Marcus Mack, who's your pick, Marcus Mack?
Lakers over Bucks.
This isn't fair at all. I'm gonna let you go first.
No, I'm going last. Go ahead.
I like the Pelicans.
He's just saying that because of Zion. He
knew exactly why I said I would say the Pelicans.
They're going to be in a playoff game. They got to win the play-in game first.
I'm not changing my mind. I'm going with King Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks. There's no chance. I think they end up getting it in, and they end up figuring out a way. They're probably going to have the easiest route to the finals, too, because they're the number one seed. So number one plays 16, and then, you got the different brackets the way the NCAA. So their ride might be smooth sailing all the way to the end. So they might not have a tough game to the finals.
I wouldn't hate it unless they face the Heat. Remember, they're 0-3 versus the Heat. I'm not even being
such a homer, yo.
I'm just speaking facts now. I'm not even being homer, but my heart would feel good if the Bucks win, but my brain, something's telling me that the Lakers are going to get it. I don't know, but Marcus, we just set you up talking about like how you entrenched yourself into sports and how you're learning and all that. I won't accept that answer. So you can get your pipe dream answer from the Pelicans, but now give me, a serious answer of who you think's, whether it's the Clippers, the Lakers, the Bucks, who was the other team in the East that were the Toronto, who was coming along in the last month?
You serious? Oh, you're gonna really put me on the spot? And
Just pick a team. Just pick a team, Marcus. Just pick a team.
Any team? I'm from Brooklyn. I know they did. I know they wasn't gonna make it, but I'm gonna say Brooklyn Nets.
Okay, there you go.
They're gonna be.
Me and you both know that Brooklyn wasn't going nowhere. Even I know that.
So two play-in teams, one from the West, the Pelicans, and one the Brooklyn Nets. If Kyrie Irving and KD can get healthy before this thing starts, you might have a shot, but I respect it. I respect the long shot.
Yeah. All right, fellas. So the last topic we're going into somewhat of a well, no, this is the second to last topic because we're definitely going to talk about.
No, they're both the same, Marcus. So it's piggybacking.
Okay, well, yeah. So we're going to talk about the Broncos coach. He made somewhat of a statement. He didn't make a racist statement. Let me make sure that's clear so you guys don't misconstrue my words. He made a statement about racism in the NFL that he wanted to retract that statement. So, let's talk about that.
Who's that? Vic Fangio?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, not for nothing, Cameron, not for nothing. Vic Fangio has said what he said, and now the statement has been retracted because he apologized. So he did apologize for what he's about to say, for what we're about to talk about. But what he talked about created a reaction from somebody that we're going to have on the show next week. So we're going to interview Thomas, and we're going to get Thomas' perspective on that, and I'll ask him about how he feels about the apology and so forth and so on. But
so what did he say? Because I've been living under a rock, so I'm telling
you. So Vic Fangio basically says that he doesn't see racism in the NFL. Then apologized and said, look, I don't see racism in the NFL in the locker rooms.
So he's trying to backtrack and sort of cover his ass a little bit.
Not necessarily, because TJ agreed to an extent. So Thomas Jones agreed to an extent that, when you're in the locker room, the black players chill with the black players, the white players chill with the white players, but on the field, there is no racism because everybody's trying to do the same thing. We're trying to get a W. Right. We're trying to win the Super Bowl. Like, we're trying to do all that. So he just said that what he said wasn't accurate. You know what I'm saying? Like, there is racism in football. You're just not accurately stating the type of racism that there is in football.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there really isn't evidence of any sort of racism on or off the field within the NFL. I would say the last time that's happened was when Riley Cooper, the wide receiver for, I think, the Eagles, remember he was at a concert and he said the derogative term, and that was on video and that sort of blew up. I think that's like the last time I can remember really. That was maybe 5 years ago or so. But like you said, yeah, these guys, high school ball, peewee football, college football, like from a very young age, they have been intertwined, black and white, from the get-go. So I would think that this wouldn't be too big of an issue in the NFL. Maybe there's an unconscious underlying, but if you're Vic Fangio, why even if that statement is true or false, why even come out and say that? Because that's just a controversial. You're gonna get backlash for saying something like that.
I don't know why he decided to go that route. Thomas Jones and I have been friends for many, many years, over a decade and some change. I know him very, very well. Once again, we are going to interview Thomas Jones next week on this show. You can catch it here. It's either going to be Monday's show or it's going to be Wednesday's show. One of those shows, Thomas Jones will be on here to talk about this. But TJ did also state, and Cameron, you know this, we discussed this. Basically, everything he said would have been our first interview with him, but we felt like we weren't ready for that, to bring on somebody of that caliber. We weren't ready as a show to have somebody like that. 50 shows in, different story. Now we're ready for Thomas all day long and twice on Sundays. So in all actuality, Thomas is basically stating, and I've said this to you, Cam, that he does feel like certain types of players with certain type of ethnicities and race end up getting treated better than others. He did say that quarterbacks of white race get treated differently than quarterbacks of black race. He did say that why somebody like Ryan Tannehill ends up getting paid and gets a real lucrative deal, where somebody like Derrick Henry gets a franchise tag. Like, some of those things actually do occur in sports. It makes it look like that, this specific type of player or type of race player ends up holding out for his money or whatever it may be. That's all fine and dandy, but some of that has some relevance to what he's trying to state. It looks like that when it comes to somebody like Dak Prescott, who's absolutely played for a big contract, still feels like he has to go out there and prove that, you have to prove that you're America's team's quarterback. And I know how much you hate saying that, so that was a little dig on you, Cameron. But, I understand what he's saying. He said Russell Wilson still had to wait for his big fat deal as well. It almost seems like when it comes to certain quarterbacks, they're reluctant to pull the trigger. And then to these white quarterbacks, like, yo, here's your money, here's your bread.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you just look to see what Ryan Tannehill just made. But I think you nailed it right on the head. There may not be I guess a back and forth racism, but I guess an underlying prejudice, whatever it may be, flows into the money aspect. When contracts are ready to be doled out, like you said, in the quarterback position, that's huge. Quarterbacks like Dak Prescott, who we're still talking about here, trying to get a contract. Cam Newton, who can't even seem to get a job as a starting quarterback in the NFL now. He's just floating around. So the talks about are we going to pay Lamar Jackson? He's essentially a running back at quarterback. So I understand where you're coming from a money aspect. I think that very much is alive in the NFL. I think you nailed it on the head.
I think, in all actuality, it's just like how he tried to express a little bit about also as well as like, he gives you a prime example. He goes, look, man, I know the X's and O's of this sport just as well as anybody else. And when it comes to some of these owners having confidence in minorities or whatever it may be, being head coaches or assistants in their programs, it just doesn't seem to move the needle the way they really need to move the needle. Like it doesn't work that way. And he does have some relevance and a lot of relevance to what he's stating, 100%. Because some of these guys, they don't really do much on the field, but they're getting paid. And the guys that are balling are like literally fighting with their agents and owners in order to get money that they feel like they're worth. Cameron.
Right, and I think this new generation of quarterbacks are going to set a new precedent. I think Deshaun Watson is going to get paid once his first contract is up. I think Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, and Lamar Jackson are all worth huge money. I think Dak Prescott's going to get huge money. I don't think he's worth the huge money, but I think he's going to get it because he's got a mouth and his agent has a mouth for him, and he's on America's team, which doesn't have a budget. But right. I think those three quarterbacks that we named, I think those guys are going to set a new precedent. And hopefully these teams that don't have a quarterback like that, that have a pro-style quarterback, a white quarterback that's sort of can't do what those quarterbacks can do, if they fall behind and they finally end up deciding to down the road take a guy like a Lamar Jackson, the precedent is already going to be set. We're already going to see what these guys are going to be paid. So hopefully they can move the needle, those three guys, and get the league to where it needs to be from a monetary standpoint for these African-American quarterbacks.
Right. I just wish it was never about, race or color or creed or whatever it may be. I wish you would just literally say, yo, he's balling. I don't care if he's white, black, brown, Asian. I don't give a damn. Just pay the man. If he's balling for me and he's producing and he's making it happen, give him a check. Let's make it happen at the end of the day. So just to let you guys know, go ahead.
Best man gets the job. Best man gets paid. Board man gets paid like Kawhi Leonard said. Pay the man if he's balling.
So just to let you guys know, this is going to conclude episode 49, the EAC Show. Marcus Mack, I appreciate you. UCF activist, overall sports enthusiast Cameron Dinnan join us for this episode 49. Make sure you check us out, episode 50. Click, like, subscribe, comment on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. The engagement on social media, we appreciate it. We'll get back to you as soon as we can with a response. And don't forget that next week, our first major, big interview for the show, former NFL running back Thomas Q. Jones will be with us. We're still going to work on the logistics of it and figure out whether it's going to be Monday's episode or Wednesday's episode, but he's definitely going to join us. It's been confirmed. So we'll definitely check you out, guys, next episode and his interview next week. Appreciate it, guys.
Oh, sugar honey iced tea. It's the EAC Show.